Hey, it's been a few weeks and a new truck and a new company. I had been working for Schneider, dedicated, delivering exclusively to Sprouts. Now I am working for a company called Landair. I'm solo. I'm technically dedicated, but it's like saying you're contracted to UPS and delivering all of their stuff. While you're dedicated to UPS, you end up going all over the place. This is kind of the same, although even more so. Landair is I've got a dedicated route, but it's not like I'm delivering to a grocery store chain or anything like that. It's one of my first loads was, first load was plywood. Then I had agricultural tires. Then I had oatmeal. Then I've had a couple of loads of different chemicals, non-hazmat. I'm not hazmat, so I've gone to Dover, Delaware. Oh, that was actually some baking powder or something like that. Dover, Delaware, a couple places in Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh. One place was also close to Puxatawny, if you know Puxatawny Phil, the guy that sees his shadow every February. Someplace in Illinois, a couple times down here in Texas, in Houston, in Austin. So pretty much they told me I can go anywhere lower 48. The reason I changed is I get 60 cents a mile, and as long as I have a full week, my minimum pay is $13.50 a week, which is better than my best week at Schneider. Still, Schneider was a good place to start. Get some hours in, get some experience, but you're not going to make a good living at it. You can, I guess, but I couldn't do it. So anyway, Landair is a subsidiary of Covenant. And if you are in the trucking world at all and get emails or get job listings, you'll notice that Covenant has been pushing really hard to get people to work for them. 60 cents a mile at least, and $1,850 minimum per week if you're going team. I don't do teams. Sitting here, I have the strange Jeff smell, or last thing I need to do is be sharing burping and farting with anybody else in the truck. No. Not to mention the fact that I have a hard enough time sleeping in one of these trucks, let alone trying to sleep while somebody else is driving. Just not going to work. But Landair, who is a subsidiary of them, lets you go solo. So, good job. So, anyhow, I decided to make this video because I had a couple of loads lately that have been a real challenge to make on time, and trying to figure out, okay, how do I get there from here? Because in addition to having to get all the miles that you want to get, you also have to figure out with these guys. We have a booklet of the places we can get fuel at. For the most part, it's TA Petro, but it's not all of them. It's about 150 fuel stops in the lower 48. So that's about 3 gas or fuel stations per state, and some states like Delaware don't have any. So it can be a challenge. So you have to kind of plan that out. So between that and trying to get things out of how do I get there from here? How do I make sure my time works out and all that stuff? So I thought that might be something that's worth looking at. So unfortunately, I can't change cameras I'm using my iPad to do this. So now I have to try to figure out how to switch cameras. But I guess I'm going to have to try to edit some videos. So here is my updated or current method of doing trip planning. Hopefully I don't jiggle the screen too much. At the top, you can see this is how I did this for a 34-hour reset, trying to plan out when I was stopping, how long I had to stay there, and when I was actually going to be able to get on the road and make sure I could figure out what my drive time was. Fairly straightforward, but it just, in terms of not being able to do it in your head, it was something I needed to put down on paper so I could actually work it out. I have to note that this is based very, very loosely on a system of trip planning that the folks over at Schneider taught. Although their trip planning it managed to keep track of your duty hours, your drive hours, your off time hours, and all that other stuff, which I think that's getting into the weeds a little bit more than you need to worry about for something like this. Basically, this is, okay, I need to start here. I've got this many hours. I've got this many miles or this many hours of driving that I think, and when can I get there? This trip starts off with me here in Houston, or outside of Houston. I have to get to Houston, drop a load, pick up a load, drive about 1,100 miles, and deliver. Tomorrow's Tuesday, and I have to deliver by late afternoon on Thursday. So first thing I did was, okay, I didn't even bother putting tonight's hours. I know what time I'll finish up. And I know that I have to be unloading at 9 a.m. at 900 hours. So that meant leaving, about 7:30 and getting there about 9 o'clock. Hopefully unloading takes an hour or less. Then I drive about 4 hours to Louisiana to pick up a load. Hopefully that takes up about an hour. And then I was just going to go, okay, well, I'll drive, park, drive, and all that stuff. And problem is, if I do my full 11 hours of drive, or 10 and a half hours, or whatever it'll work out to tomorrow, that puts me at a place to park at roughly 2,100 hours. That's a no bueno. Generally, my favorite way of working things is I get up between midnight and 2 a.m. and I'm on the road between 1 and 3, hopefully. That way it puts me back parked with my happy ass in a parking lot like this, sometime between 2 and 4 p.m. That way I'm almost assured that no matter where I want to stop, I'm going to be able to get a parking spot. Also, it means I can be a little more finicky about where I want to get a spot. Like here, I'm at Love's. I tend to like them. They tend to be reasonably clean. And also they tend to have better parking. But at any rate, this system here, like parking at 2,100 hours, I would probably end up on an off-ramp or an on-ramp somewhere. Not ideal. So then, okay, let's say, well, I have to be there at 1,500 hours on Thursday. Well, let's take 10 and a half, 11 hours of driving, then go back 10 hours. And, that gets me parking at 1,800 hours. But actually, if I look at, do a couple hours of driving tomorrow, I've got way more than 10 hours here. So I've got 14 hours I've got 24 hours in which I only need to come up with 10 hours of driving. So anyway, these I've got it starting off at 8 a.m. at 0800 and finishing at 18. I can actually move that. If I start my 10 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That means I can get up here and go for 11 hours, be done by 1,400 hours, and we're all good. So having a system, something like this, that lets you look at it, figure out how you're going to work and how you're going to drive and when you're going to park, is a huge help. If any drivers or anybody out there knows of an app that's out there that does this, that would be awesome. Or if they've got a system, or if somebody has a notebook that's pre-printed or something like that. But at any rate, this is something that you might not have thought about as being a requirement for being a truck driver. But time management, planning, and all that other good stuff, it's definitely required. So just think about it. Take care.